Hello YouTube, it's Peter Gaming Scotland here and welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are well and gaming lots. So in today's video I'm going to be giving you my full detailed review of Ghost of Tsushima, one of Sony's best and last exclusive games on PlayStation 4. But before we get into the review, let me know your thoughts below, like, comment and subscribe. But here is my full detailed review of Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima is an open world action adventure game developed by Sucker Punch Productions, best known for the infamous series and Sly Cooper games. In Ghost of Tsushima, you play as Jin Sakai, a stoic samurai who is tasked with saving the island of Tsushima from the first Mongol invasion of Japan in 1274. The very first Mongol invasion of Japan landed at Komoda Beach near Sashuara on the northwestern tip of the southern island. Additional landings did take place in the strait between the islands of Tsushima as well as on the northern island. The Mongols landed at 2 AM in the morning on 5th of November 1274, and after ignoring Japanese negotiation attempts, they opened fire with their archers, forcing the Japanese small army to retreat. The fight was engaged by 4 AM on the same day. The small Japanese force was quickly defeated. However, according to legend, one samurai, Suki-Sada, reportedly defeated 25 enemy Mongol soldiers during the battle. In the end, the Mongol forces burnt down the buildings and killed the remaining inhabitants of Tsushima Island. The events at Komoda Beach have a lasting impact on the game's bleak story, and this sets up Jin's quest for revenge against the Mongols and his ultimate goal to defeat the Mongols and take back and restore his homeland, the island of Tsushima. So the open world story in Ghost of Tsushima is totally unique in its setting and portrayal of Japanese culture, and quite frankly I have been crying out for a Japanese open world game for a long time, and Sucker Punch Productions have finally delivered in their quest of a faithful recreation of this time period. Overall, the story is very bleak and sad in places, as war can be brutal and can have a devastating impact on the communities, families and people left behind. However, there are glimmers of hope throughout, and the cast of supporting characters and NPCs definitely show that even through the harsh realities of war, the camaraderie can shine, and often does in this game. Island of Tsushima is split into 3 very distinctive areas. Izuhara, a beautiful autumnal landscape full of lush golden forests, lakes, mountains and waterfalls. It truly is one of the most stunning locations and opening areas to a game I have ever seen. Toyotama, a landscape full of rows and rows of red flowers, swamps and farmers' fields. It also has a lot of dense harsh forests, but this is where the story picks up and becomes a lot more intense. And finally, Kamiyagata, initially a burnt out forest, the lands open up into a winter wonderland full of snowy mountain peaks and frozen lakes with a more calming atmosphere. This truly is one of the most beautiful, artistic and handcrafted open world games I have ever experienced, and one I highly recommend you try for yourself. Before I talk about the combat in Ghost of Tsushima, as this may be your first time playing the game, I briefly want to mention the controls. The controls for the most part are pretty similar to other open world games in this genre. The square button is your basic sword attack, triangle is your heavy sword attack, circle is to dash or dodge out of the way of enemy fire, and X or the cross button is to jump. The arrow keys each have their own unique prompts. Up is to stand off against a group of enemies which you can find in Mongol camps or around the world in Ghost of Tsushima. Killing 5 enemies in one standoff nets you a trophy. However, you require certain upgrades which I will talk about later in this guide. Left is to call your horse, down is to heal, and right is where to access the game's photo mode. In the early game I pressed right too many times as I was learning the controls, but accidentally unlocked a easy bronze trophy for accessing the game's photo mode. L1 is to block or parry. Another trophy unlocks here if you perfect parry 25 times. You know you have done this correctly if you get a slow-mo animation from the enemy during battle. So basically you can either hold L1 at all times during combat, or if you press L1 at the right time you can perfect parry. Do this 25 times to unlock the trophy. L2 is for aiming and R2 is to shoot a ranged weapon like the bow. The bow is OP and one of my favourite weapons in the game. R1 allows you to to quick-fire weapons such as the kunai, which is a Japanese farming tool that can be used as a throwing knife in the game. It is very effective at close range against all enemy types. The touchpad allows you to swipe for the guiding wind. This is the game's waypoint that guides you to your next objective. Holding R2 and any face button allows you to switch stances. The 4 stances are the stone stance, most effective against swordsmen, the water stance, most effective against shieldmen, the wind stance, most effective against spearmen, and finally the moon stance, most effective against brutes, the game's toughest enemies. The game wants you to switch stances based on different types of enemies you face. However, this really isn't necessary in my opinion, as you can take out enemies easily once you master parrying and dodging, as these moves can be used against all enemies throughout the game. The combat in Ghost of Tsushima is visceral, brutal, and so satisfying. When in combat, you can hack and slash your way through most enemies, but as you progress, the enemies become more difficult. Initially starting out against easy swordsmen, soon you face shieldmen, spearmen, and eventually brutes. However, the enemies in the later game start throwing a variety of ghost weapons at you, which can be difficult to dodge at first, but with more practice, you can defeat them. The enemy skills are split into 2 categories in one of the menus: deflection and evasion. Deflection is concerned with parrying and evasion is concerned with dodging. When you see a red glow coming from an enemy, this is an unblockable attack, so you need to dodge out of the way. Secondly, once you unlock the unyielding sword parry skill from the deflection category, you can parry an unblockable attack by pressing L1. This is marked by a blue glow. As well as the ability to parry and dodge, Jin also has the ability to use ghost weapons to defeat the Mongols. The ghost weapons consist of the kunai, the Japanese throwing knife, a black powder bomb, a throwing explosive that damages and staggers enemies, a smoke bomb that allows enemies to lose sight of you, a sticky bomb which is a throwing bomb that can stick to enemies, and wind chimes, a small bell that can distract enemies' attention, all of which can be used if you fancy taking a stealth approach. However, my favourite are the kunai, which can be used against all enemy types and are really effective at close range. All of these ghost weapons can be unlocked by playing the main story and by earning XP through building your legend, playing side quests and finding collectibles. The game also boasts a lot of customization in the form of armor, outfits, charms and accessories, which are totally optional in my opinion. Open world traversal in Ghost of Tsushima is similar to many open world games. However, what sets it apart is that you can ride horseback through the fields of wheat and be taken to your next collectible in the game. This can be an excellent feature if you only require a few collectibles in the game. I was initially put off with the sheer amount of collectibles in this game, but they do add to the overall experience in Ghost of Tsushima. Throughout your exploration, you can come across thousands of resources such as leather, steel, gold, and many more items that can be used to upgrade and personalise your appearance. In order to upgrade your appearance, you have to pay a visit to a merchant, an armourer, a bower, a traper, or swordsman that can be found at main hub cities or throughout the world, but they do require some of your resources that you have found throughout the game. The other collectibles can also be useful. Hot springs can upgrade your maximum health. Shinto shrines are like your challenge tombs from the Tomb Raider games. Once you solve a quick puzzle and how to get there, you are rewarded with charms that can be customized. Pillars of Honor give you your sword kits which change their appearance. Haku are tranquil places and famous Japanese poems that give you a new headband. The rest of the collectibles including bamboo strikes, the most difficult collectible, asking you to hit button prompts in quick succession, fox dens that require you to follow a fox to a hidden shrine. There are far too many of these, and these became very repetitive as the game goes on, and finally lighthouses, which give hope to the people of Tsushima. Simply climb to the top of these and light them up. They just need to be collected for 100% completion. However, there are many more collectibles such as records, which are written messages from the people of Tsushima during the Mongol invasion, and Mongol artifacts, both of which can be found in the Mongol camps, settlements and dwellings around Tsushima. Singing crickets can be found at graveyards. You only need 5 of these and can be used to change the song Jin plays on the flute, and it also unlocks a trophy to play at a certain grave in the game. Talking of one final trophy mentioned previously, it's called All in the Wrist, and for it to unlock, you have to defeat the maximum amount of enemies in a single standoff. Firstly, you have to upgrade the Clan Sakai armor to maximum, as that increases the standoff standoff streak by 2. Next you have to buy 2 upgrades, standoff streak and improved standoff streak. Both of these can be found in the evolving tactics section, and finally you should have enough enemies to net this trophy. But last but not least, in the traversal of Ghost of Tsushima is the rope swing. To aid your traversal in Ghost of Tsushima, you eventually get the ability in Act 2 to use a rope swing. This can be very helpful in getting to the harder to reach places around the island, and I personally love swinging around the island with it. It made the traversal a lot more fun. So, as well as the game, Sucker Punch have also introduced Kurosawa mode. So Kurosawa mode is an entirely new mode in the game that allows you to play out your entire samurai film fantasy by letting you play the entire game in black and white. In order to activate this mode, go into the options menu, select display and scroll down to the Kurosawa mode and turn it on. As soon as you want to change back to full colour, which I highly recommend you do, you can simply turn this mode off in the display menu. The new mode is a love letter to Akira Kurosawa, an influential Japanese filmmaker. He made over 30 films, however he is best known for his samurai films in the 1950s and 60s. So we've talked about majority of the game there. We're now going to talk about the trophies and how achievable the platinum is. The trophies in this game are pretty standard for an open world game of this caliber. The game consists of 52 trophies, 1 platinum, 2 gold, 9 silver and 40 bronze trophies. Ultimately, they pretty much require you to 100% an open world in Ghost of Tsushima. There are 12 main story trophies for completing the main story, another 6 for completing all the tales of Ghost of Tsushima, which are the game's side quests. For context, there are 24 main missions, 61 side quests and a further 7 mythic tales, which are also a form of side quest, making 92 quests in total. 7 combat related trophies, unlocking abilities, building your legend to max and upgrading your sword. You need to fully upgrade your sword by collecting resources throughout the island and having a charm in all 6 slots. 9 collectible trophies were found in all collectibles, however you only need 30 pieces of vanity gear, 20 records and Mongol artifact. The rest of the collectibles you need all of them for 100% completion. There are a total of 18 hot springs, 16 bamboo strikes, 16 Shinto shrines, 8 lighthouses, 23 pillars of honour, 49 fox dens or Inari shrines, 19 Haku poems and 5 jewels. There are a couple of miscellaneous tasks, including finding Yu Megami Cove, which is a side quest in Act 2, cannot be missed. Purchase a weapon from the white and black dye merchants. The white merchant can be found in the northwestern area of the first island, and the black dye merchant can be found halfway up the second island on the right hand side. So to bow to all hidden altars, the only task not covered in the collectibles portion of the game, you need a guide for this trophy, in which you need to bow by swiping down on the touchpad at 10 hidden altars throughout the island. The altars are wooden signs with an icon of a person bowing and are extremely well hidden and difficult to find. Next we have the dress up as a legendary thief. You need certain items for this trophy to unlock, and a guide is required to unlock this trophy. Access in photo mode can easily be done by pressing the right arrow key, and playing the flute at a particular grave, which I've already mentioned, also requires a guide. Finally, 7 trophies are for liberating the whole island of Tsushima by clearing out all Mongol camps. In doing so, you will find more hidden question marks throughout the area. After achieving all of that, a new shiny platinum is yours. Overall, this platinum was very straightforward. Did get a bit grindy towards the end. I would say the main story is around 15 hours, but if you want to 100% complete the base game, you're looking at around 50 to 60 hours of gameplay here. Ultimately, I had fun earning this platinum, and it is a really varied list, but the end game grind clearing all icons was an issue. In conclusion, in my opinion, what makes Ghost of Tsushima one of the greatest games of the year and potentially the generation is its attention to detail and recreation of this harrowing time period in Japanese culture. The devs at Sucker Punch have truly outdone themselves, creating one of the most beautiful games of this generation, and one I highly recommend you play. I would give this game a 9 out of 10, as I was genuinely blown away at the love, care and attention to the Japanese culture this game offers. However, the only downside would be most of the cutscenes aren't well optimised and look very basic in terms of the overall care and attention the game gets. But anyway guys, that has been my full detailed review of Ghost of Tsushima. As always, let me know your thoughts below. Did you enjoy the game? Did you not? As always, I love to read all your comments down below, but that is the end of today's video. Thank you very much indeed for watching. I've been PSU Gaming Scotland, and I'll see you on another video. Thanks very much indeed guys, bye bye.